Today, we are cracking wide open a massive economic mystery. We're looking at exactly why incredibly fast AI tools aren't actually giving us our time back. It's known as the AI productivity paradox, and today we're going to teach you exactly how to audit your own knowledge work, escape the endless hype cycle, and find what we call your bounded tasks, so you can finally get your evenings back. Now, you have probably heard this magic number floating around, 11. As in, AI saves the average worker 11 hours a week. I mean, it's in every startup pitch deck, it's splashed across marketing materials, it is literally all over your social media feed right now. And hey, maybe you've even repeated it yourself in a meeting to sound current or, use it to justify a softer budget.
Okay, let's dive into this because I want you to be totally honest with yourself for just a second. Where did those 11 hours actually go? Did your work week actually get shorter? Did your calendar suddenly magically open up? If you cannot point to where that saved time went, listen, you're not crazy and you're definitely not imagining things. The number is being widely reported, sure, but the reality on the ground is telling a completely different story.
So here is our step-by-step roadmap to solving the mystery of your missing time. First, we'll cover the broken promise. Second, the productivity paradox. Third, trapped in tutorial hell. Fourth, finding your bounded tasks. And finally, fifth, the 10-minute habit.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the broken promise. Reality versus the pitch deck. The stark contrast in the data here is just absolutely undeniable. On one hand, you've got those surveys where people claim they're saving 11 hours, but then the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis actually ran the numbers through a standard economic model, and they found a savings of just 2.2 hours a week. That is roughly a single workday saved over an entire month, not a week. But what's really interesting is this massive, rigorous study out of Denmark. They tracked 25,000 actual workers across 7,000 workplaces for 2 full years using hard administrative labor records. The result? A shocking 0% change in actual wages or recorded hours, a precise, literal, null effect. The paychecks and the timesheets simply did not budge.
Which brings us to Section 2, the productivity paradox, why time stands still.
Believe it or not, economists actually saw this exact same statistical gap happen during the 1980s computer boom. So why do we feel so much faster today despite what the hard data shows? Well, the first reason is the self-report gap. When you finish a task quickly with AI, your brain automatically compares that speed to imagined slow work, not measured slow work. You picture the absolute worst-case scenario, yourself stuck, frustrated, staring at a blank screen for 20 minutes. Against that completely imagined agonizing struggle, almost anything looks like a total miracle. This flawed time estimation isn't a character flaw, and it doesn't mean you're bad at your job. It's just how human memory works.
And that brilliantly illustrates the next crucial factor, the botsitting tax. This is the hidden labor of AI that nobody is putting in their marketing brochure. It's the time you spend feeding the AI all the context it didn't have, checking its output line by line, fixing its very confident but completely wrong answers, and just rerunning prompts over and over again. We aren't necessarily saving time, we are just quietly relocating our time from doing the work to checking the work, without even realizing it.
In fact, researchers found that people spend a staggering average of 6.4 hours a week just bot-sitting. Just really think about that for a second. Even if you theoretically save time drafting a report, you're spending over 6 hours a week babysitting the tool and verifying its numbers. That drastically cuts into that imaginary 11-hour savings you thought you had.
But hey, AI isn't a total failure. Not at all. We have to consider the frequency multiplier. Occasional users, the dabblers who just check in once or twice a month, they see essentially zero real-time savings. However, the data shows that a third of daily users actually do report saving 4 or more hours a week. The AI isn't failing you, but just casually touching a tool a couple of times a month isn't going to magically transform your job. Consistent, repeated practice is the only way to see those actual gains.
Moving on to Section 3, Trapped in Tutorial Hell, the Psychology of Avoidance.
If consistent use is the key, we really have to talk about the psychological barriers preventing that daily habit. If you've watched, say, 50 AI tutorials this month and built absolutely 0 things yourself, you are stuck in the dopamine loop. The neuroscience here is frankly fascinating. Your brain releases dopamine during the anticipation of a win. So when you watch a video of someone else building this amazing AI workflow, you picture how good that would feel, and your brain gives you a hit of that exact reward chemistry. You get the feeling of success without actually doing the work, which quietly scratches the itch and completely kills your drive to go try it yourself.
So, the crucial point here is this deeply hidden anxiety, fear of success. We talk about fear of failure all the time, right? But fear of success is the unvoiced worry that if this AI automation actually works and you do your job twice as fast, well, what happens next? Suddenly your boss and everyone else expects that incredible speed from you permanently. Staying a passive tutorial watcher just feels like a much safer identity because nobody expects anything from a video you just watched for fun.
Let's correct the record right here and now. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotion regulation problem. Endlessly researching the perfect AI model, or suffering from choice overload, or waiting for the absolute perfect workflow. These are just socially acceptable ways to avoid the very unpleasant 10-minute feeling of being an absolute beginner. You aren't managing your time poorly. You're just dodging the discomfort of not being good at something quite yet.
That brings us to Section 4, Finding Your Bounded Tasks, the Path Forward.
Now that we know the psychological trap, we are shifting from the problem to the highly structured solution. To audit your job effectively, we have to contrast unstructured work with bounded tasks. Think about unstructured work: open-ended strategy, broad communication, judgment calls with no single right answer. Honestly, AI actually struggles to save you time there. But then you have bounded tasks. These have crystal clear finish lines and incredibly fast ways to check the output. A support ticket is either resolved or it isn't. A script either runs or it throws an error. This is where AI truly shines. And the rigorous task-level data backs this up perfectly. When AI is applied specifically to those bounded tasks, the results are incredible. Customer support agents resolving specific tickets got 40% faster. Professional developers doing well-defined coding tasks, they got 55% faster. If you want to audit your own job and get your time back, you must stop trying to automate broad, unstructured work. Look for those bounded, repeatable tasks where you can instantly verify the AI's answer.
Finally, Section 5, the 10-minute habit, shifting your identity. Because just knowing what to do isn't enough, right? You have to shift your identity from a passive watcher to an active builder, and that requires action. You have to remember that you do not think your way into becoming a builder. Identity shifts follow action, not the other way around. You need to grant yourself permission to just be bad at something for 10 minutes. The distance between you and someone who is genuinely good at AI isn't extreme intelligence or vast amounts of free time. It is literally just the number of slightly uncomfortable, broken first attempts they were willing to sit through before you were.
So, here is your highly actionable, screenshot-worthy assignment to help you break out of tutorial hell right now. Step 1. Pick one single bounded task from your week. Not your whole job, just one task with a clear right answer. Step 2. Open literally any AI tool today. Seriously, don't research it, don't agonize over finding the perfect one, just open it. Step 3. Do it for exactly 10 minutes. Just get something small and slightly broken working.
Which leaves us with one final, provocative question that I want you to answer for yourself right now. What AI tool are you finally going to open today? Don't just watch this explainer and file it away as a preview of a feeling. The dopamine hit of watching is not the same as the reality of building. Go force that gap open yourself, embrace the 10 minutes of feeling like a beginner, and execute your first bounded task. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now go build something.